everybody, Matt here, Hollywood's Garage. Today we're working on the Ventura. She's been a minute, man. She's been parked. Haven't touched it since what, October, November I think was my last ride. But we're gonna start kind of fixing a few odds and ends. A big one being I have a miss at idle. Not acceleration wise because the boost, but at idle. So what my guess is I've tried spark, I've changed spark plugs, made sure they were gapped right. Yes, I have cheap wires on it, and maybe that's it, but it did with my MSDs as well. But I'm guessing I got a vacuum leak. So, I don't know if you guys are familiar, but with these intakes, these Chinese sheet metal, it's a Phytech one, but they use what's called like an O-ring setup, right? So, I have a set of, I think, I can't remember, Felpros or ICT billets or something like that on there now. And they've been on there on and off, I don't know, 6 or 7 times for like the last 5 years. So I got some new ones. China's best, I guess, right off Amazon. So we're gonna pop off the intake here. I guess the intake. I mean, that's a big intake too, isn't it? Anywho, we're gonna pop that off. I'm also gonna do some hoses, new hoses on the rad hoses. We gotta get some new ones. That was not bad, but the one down here, she got a bubble in her from when she got pretty hot there when I was having cooling issues with this car. Another thing we're gonna try is, I might put an air dam on the bottom of the, like under the bottom, kind of in front of the rad, so air goes up into it. So my cooling issues with this car now are only just gonna be around cruising around town. Idle, it cools off. Highway, she's cooled off. It's just cruising around town. So I don't think I'm getting enough air through the intercooler to the rad, so I'm gonna put I have some extra aluminum down here somewhere. Yeah, right there, big sheet of it, because I was gonna build a fan shroud. I'm gonna build myself just a makeshift air dam. It's not gonna look pretty, see if it works. If it works good, I'll make a whole new one or whatever. Maybe it'll look good, I don't know. Regardless, so first steps first is we're gonna do the intake thing. So we're gonna pop the hood off just for ease of, you know what? We'll keep the hood on. It's not too bad actually to pop this off. We'll just start with all of the tubing. I'm gonna have to take the fuel lines off. Obviously we're gonna have fuel pouring out of it, so we'll get a rag ready, but yeah, it's not a big job. Unclip, unclip. There's 2 harnesses on each side for your injectors. You got your map sensor in the back. You got vacuum lines underneath. Obviously throttle cable. A few plugs here. It's not really that big of a job. No cooler or nothing that way, but I'm gonna have to drain coolant later on for these hoses. And where else? I might even buy a new set of Taurus / I think these are actually, yeah, Taurus fans, duals. Anyway, I might buy a new set. These are from a junkyard from like 8 years ago when I first put electric rads in here. They're electric fans. And I've had to cut it up with the old style, but anyway, I might put a new one in too. We got some time. It's only end of February, so this thing won't be hitting the streets for probably another month. I don't want to hit the streets until there's no salt, no, not much for rocks and stuff. I don't want, chip the paint more than what it is too. So we'll start with, what's right in our teeth, which is a tight fit, but once we loosen up everything else, she'll slide off the back. I got this zip tied down, so we'll cut that. If anyone's wondering, this cable, throttle cable, which just fits, but I should be getting a better one, is off like a GMC truck, like a 95, or no, sorry, like a 2000 or 2005. Fits the factory pedal, and it fits here. It just fits. Not the cleanest. It'd be nice if I had a longer one that looped or something, like a low car one or something, but balling on a budget, guys. Unplug the TPS and the idle air control valve. I'll also unplug the IET. Coil packs, just doing whatever's easy here at first. She's all pretty easy, to be honest. And then I got 2 plugins in the back. There we go, that's one. That one's a tricky one. That one's behind all of this wiring. Maybe I'll leave that until I slide it out. Here we are. None of them look bent or nothing like that. They all look decent. But we're in here, we'll replace them. And then we'll check these plugs. Maybe these are leaking. No, those are tight. And that one's loose that way, but not enough to be the issue I'm having. Okay, well, start plucking those out, wherever this will stay some way. Probably not. These look to be almost the same as what I have. These are red, where the other ones are orange. Let's just see if they're the same before I remove them all. Here's a new one and an old one. Let's line them up. Exactly the same. There is a difference. Yeah, these aren't as squished, these new ones. So we'll obviously throw the new ones in. I'm sure she'll be a better seal. Well, I've just noticed, but my IEC, the screws are loose. They're quite loose, almost falling out. So, well, obviously, I mean, that could be part of the issue because it was getting worse and worse, my misfire, as the season went on last summer. So we'll get those tightened up and then we'll put the new ones in, like I said. And I'm getting the IEC all tightened up. So if you look at these O-rings, you'll look, they're kind of like different. Like I said, this side's beveled down here and this side's flat. So my best guess, I'm not a mechanic, I'm just a backyard guy. Best guess is it's gonna go into the intake like this, intake side, and this will be what seals to the head. Just by the taper of it, right? I mean, that's a thin little edge on here, and that's a bigger edge to seal on the heads. They fit very well, and they protrude pretty good, so maybe that was it too. And to be honest, I might not have even put them all in the same. Like how I'm making sure this time. The factory ones that this Phytech came with, they were black. They were so flimsy. They wouldn't stay very well in the intake. So those were chucked out. After with this third time, put the intake on because one got bent. It fell out and it got squished crooked. So that was no bueno. I think these are just LS1 style intake gaskets. So if you look how much protrudes just like that, and they're all in hand pushed in. So I think we'll have a good sealing this time, guys. I don't see any issue there. Everything else looks good on the bottom here. I'm just gonna verify my throttle body bolts are all tight since those other two were loose, and we'll slap her back on. So I'm gonna make sure all my plugs are not in the way here. That side, that out. Put it on this side. Like that. I think we're good that way. My vacuums are still easy to get. I just don't want to forget. Put the one on the way, or on the, at the wastegate, but the blow-off valve. There we go. Now I gotta get it so this goes back on. This is tricky, so I'm gonna fight this. It's a fight. To make it easier, I could pull the fans, but we're not doing that. I could loosen this up. Got some wiggle room, which is what I'll probably. There we go. Okay. Didn't have to loosen that after all. Anywho's. That is now on there. We'll give her tighten, put all the nuts. Sorry, the bolts back in. Now, just for reference, look at the space between these two. I haven't put the nut bolts in yet, but we'll see that space, and we're gonna see it squish down here once I put these bolts in. Start from the middle, kind of like a head, go in a spiral out to get this seated flat. Let me show you a little secret for these. Get yourself a pen magnet. The washer will stick as well because it's pretty strong to set these in. Otherwise, you will lose your washers or even your bolt. These washers are pretty much flat anyway. They're locking washers, but they help when you go to torque them. That has been the best method I've seen so far. Just a pen magnet, slip it in, and then, oh, there's a hole. Nope. And then just kind of, when you put it in the hole, you just kind of have it so it slides the top off and it stays in the hole. So there you have it. I went and tightened both sides to whatever the foot-pounds this on 13 is. First I did pass on 9, then 13. As you can see, it's all squeezed down. We're nice and tight and flush. They all went in very well. Everything's plugged back in, clipped, 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 clipped. The 2 hoses back on there. The one on my blowout valve is still hanging on, though I could push it on a bit more. There we go, on all the way. These are all tight again, and it's that simple. But I do think that'll help quite a bit. These old ones were pretty, I mean, they're not horrible, but for all I know, I had them in backwards on some of them, right? So now we know. I think they were like 30 bucks for new ones, and they squished down quite a bit, and this time I torqued it right, so we know that's eliminated now, vacuum leaks. So next, we're gonna drain the coolant out of this thing, the fun times, because it's just more of a peace of mind to get new hoses. Like I said, this one's got a pretty big bubble on the back there. I don't know if you can see it there, but we get new hoses there. The one down there is actually not too bad, and that's a weird kind of style hose. I think, to be honest, when I first did the swap, I just went to like a Napa, went in the back with their hoses and just kind of found something that would work. So this hose here used to be all hose that went in to here, but with the turbo kit and this being in the way, I was able to like get around it and cut it up. And I also had to put in right there, you can see it, a steam vent port there. So that was another reason why I kept that hose. But I might even keep this one still. To be honest, all I really need is, I don't know, it's hard to say. This one for sure, this one's not too bad, but I see the stripe piece. 3 inches long, 3 inches long. And then, like I said, I might do fans, but we're definitely gonna try putting some sort of air dam down here. So if you look right there, that's our space right there, that 1 inch, I guess, to the rad. So I was thinking of putting a dam off of that, off of these bolts here, and have like here going up in, just to help with driving. I just feel like this intercooler is not letting much through. It does cover most of it. So, I mean, I have aluminum. We might as well give it a try. So here's what I ended up with. 18 inches across, which will end up being on in 5 inches down. There'll be a slight bend up here when we go to mount it, so we kind of tape it forward. But with that, I'll show you what we're gonna have. We'll have a light. Hopefully you have an okay shot there. But with 18 inches, we're gonna go past 2 inches on each side of my bottom mount here. And then 5 inches will be, if we do it flat, will be above the cross member in the center, but we're gonna tilt it up, so it might even go up another 1/2 inch. But we're gonna scoop a lot of air from below this bumper, about 2 or 3 inches, directly under here, in this gap, right to the rad. Is it crude? Yep, but it'll get the point done. And it's just stainless, sorry, it's aluminum. I should say stainless, it's aluminum, so we'll try that. We can always wrap it, paint it or whatever. For now, we'll just leave it shiny. Obviously I'll peel the blue off when we get there, but so I'll get my cutting wheel off and I'll cut this, and then we'll mount her up. Got a piece of plywood underneath this so we don't cut into the concrete. There we go. Let's go see how it mounts up. I went down there, I marked out where the 2 Tech screws are that I'm using to also hold the bottom of the intercooler. So we're gonna drill those out. Kind of don't have to, I do have self-tappers down there, but we'll drill them out just so we don't wear out the self-tappers even more than they are. And then we'll have to put a bend in this. Like I said, kind of a 40, 45, maybe not as much, maybe 30. And we'll mount her on and see how she looks. So there's our view. I got the 2 screws out. Let me just grab the plate. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna put them back in. Hopefully I made these holes big enough. It's just a guess. It's probably like matte, but it's flat. And I don't have a proper like tool to really bend this flat on a vise or anything, like flat long enough. So We're gonna let Jesus take the wheel on this one. There. It's not the cleanest. I'd like to have one more bend in here. So after I went and took it out and put it into a vise and tried to give it a better angle, it's not clean, guys. It's crap, but I don't have the proper tools for that. We make do with what we got. That's what it's all about. And really, it's under the front of the car. You're only gonna look at it if you look underneath, which I guess a lot of people do, but we'll give that a whirl. See how she looks. I mean, that's already a huge improvement for air. I'll bring you up front, show you what I mean. So here you go, you can see it there. I'm pretty much level with the bottom of the bumper there. So I think that'll be okay. Like I said, it doesn't look the prettiest, but it should scoop. Might peel off that blue still. Let's see if I can do that. You know what? Let's just fire it up. Let's see how it idles now with hopefully the air leak fixed. First startup, let's get her up. Just gonna turn my battery on. Good to go. Let's see what she does. Don't mind this big box. That's for the Super Duty, but that's a secret. I've had this battery on a tender this whole time. Let's see how she does. She's got tick oil in her too, guys. I think I'm still getting a bit of a misfire. And it's not like every rotation, it's random almost. I mean, it could be these cheap JDM speed wires. They fit so good though with these headers. The MSDs I had were longer, they didn't quite fit, but maybe I'll end up getting a better set of wires. It's got good NGK BR7 ESs in it right now for plugs, and they're gapped good, but my last resort was at intake because I was messing with Spark a lot with tuning and stuff. I mean, idling is idling. It shouldn't be too bad, but I don't know. We'll have to just keep going with this video, see what we can do. I'll order up some new wires, I guess. We're still gonna do the hoses on the coolant, like I said too. But anyway, we know nothing that I did right now is a mess. You know, it fired up. No huge vacuum leaks, nothing like that. All the vitals are good that way. So, I mean, there's a plus there. Well, I think I got it figured out. My timing for my idle was at like 20, 22. Should be at 15. So bumper down to 15 between the 40 and 60 kPa on my timing table. I don't have a 50, so we'll put them both there. 15, 16 is where I'm at. So Seems a little better. Let's fire it up and let's hear it. Jumps around a little bit, but I don't know, I can't get it to sit still. If you have a Tech, you know your IAC steps got to be between 3 and 10. A little off still, but gives a little bit of a turn. But there you have it. Sounds a lot better. Obviously, true test will be driving it. Then you can really kind of feel the sputter, right? So, but that's time to come. Obviously, too much snow on the ground. We got some parts in, some new wires, some AC Delcos from Amazon. So I'm hoping they're real. We'll test for that with ohms. Got the new coolant hose, and I got the plugs for the bypass, I guess, heater hose bypass down in there. They say when you cap it like that, or when you put the U in, it actually circulates hot air. So capping those off individually will help with cooling as well. But first of all, let's get these old JDM speed wires off, which are a nice looking wire and they fit perfect for what I have. But we're just gonna ohm these out. We'll ohm them out the other ones. We'll see if it's worth the swap. The other ones are also a little longer. The boots are longer, so they're not gonna be stuck up to the bolts there, and you'll see way down there. They won't be touching. Over time will melt and obviously have a short. So put her to horseshoe mode, or ohms. Horseshoe if you're silly like me. Put your ground on one end, your positive on the other, which is way down in there. .78 ohms. We'll show the other one. So we'll do this one. .6. No, 260. So pretty much at this point, I was trying to ohm out both, and the new AC Delco ones I bought were actually ohming out higher. They were just a different reading, like a bigger reading on the actual handheld there. But either way, I got duped by Amazon. I ended up getting knockoffs, and to be honest, they didn't even fit that well anyway. So the best way I find for draining, besides using the petcock down in the corner of the rad, which is tight up to my cold side, you just loosen up the two bolts, fold the thermostat in. It'll drain to your bucket below. I mean, make a little bit of a mess. Not bad though. Hold on, let you see that. Not bad. But yeah, we got to drain it because we got to get to those U-bolt, that U-hose down there, right? So that'll at least drain it to that. And then obviously we can change this out now that it's probably drained below level. Well, the hose I got is too small by like literally 1/4 of an inch. This silicone stuff is pretty thick and it just won't slide over when I need it to. So I guess we'll have to do a parts run. Get another, just a random hose. Cheapest hose I can find at Napa back is what I'll probably find. But so now that we're backtracked on that one, we'll do these caps, which will be fun because look at, there isn't much room. But we'll try our best, and hopefully my Googling on cap sizes work, because I Googled 5/8 caps, and that's what I have. And if they're not big enough, guess another Napa run. Great success. Wasn't easy. It was a variation of my big old pry bar, just for wiggle room. Got the hose clamps off, mutilated a little bit, still reusable, a little shorter. But let's see if our caps will fit. They'll fit one for sure. And hopefully we'll just squeeze it over the other one. Hopefully they're pretty soft. If not, we'll guess we're buying bigger. Well, as you can see, we got one on, but of course, the other one's a lot bigger. So, we'll have to buy one of those caps. Man, I just can't win. you know, I tried to pre-plan all this, buy the parts, so it's all ready to roll. And like literally one thing out of everything, half a thing out of everything worked. So good thing I have a Napa. It's open Sundays too, local. So we'll get the parts and we'll finish that off. Just got back from the parts store. Got a 3/4 inch caps, new hose. So we'll throw the cap on. We'll get a hose clamp on her. Reuse. Got those both caps on. They're not gonna last long. They say they last a year, maybe 2 years, but I have one extra of each, so it'll help with cooling. We'll roll with it. I guess if one splits, we're kind of SOL, but we'll roll. We'll roll. Okay, let's do this hose now. There and here. All buttoned up. Lots of space there. She was a little close, as you can see right there. Some witness marks, but may have fit a little better. No bulgy hoses. So we'll go ahead and pour the coolant back in. Then we'll have to fire up and get the coolant back in the block, since that's what we drained, opening that up. The rad's still 3/4 full, so obviously when we want to fill it, it's gonna go all through the hose and fill the end. Get you one of these rad, I don't know, funnels slash bucket thingy. It's the cat's meow. We'll put this coolant back in her. A little dirty, but it'll buff out. Got her almost, took all of it. I did spill some, so I do have another jug to top her up. We'll have to get her fired up though, to circulate, get the rest of the air out of the system. But for now, we're gonna move on to bigger, better things. Well, not really better, but I got a surprise. Got a good neighbor down the street. Offered up a new toolbox setup. Nice guy. We'll have to, you know, give him a sticker or something for it. He didn't want any money for it, just a nice guy. Lucky neighbor, I guess. I've had this set up. It's a mess. My whole garage is a mess. And it needs cleaning. This will be a summer project, but I've had this since I was like 18, this setup. This is my first toolbox when I was like 15. This is what started it all. I think 14, I think I got this. And then that box was bought for me for a birthday or something, like when I was like 18. And the middle one was given to me by, I think, my brother. So I'm gonna keep that set up, but we have to make room for the one beside it, or in this corner. But probably beside it. It makes more sense. Problem is I made this bench so wide that if I move it over, we run into the hose. Obviously this can be moved, junk again, that's cleanest. But if we move it over, it's gonna be way in the hoses, the way I built it. So we're probably at the fab some stuff, okay? I don't know what we're gonna do. Got time to think about it. I should have made the shelf either a little higher or a little lower, so the nozzles won't be directly in the way of my shelf. I might be able to cut the legs. If I cut the legs an inch or two shorter, which will drop it down, and then I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. There's nowhere else in the shop that has room for that toolbox. I kind of want it close to the other one, so I gotta clean up. This is a mess though. It's a mess in here, guys. I got truck parts ready to roll over there. He also gave us a workout bench. That's got to get to the basement. It's just a mess. So I got an idea. See how we got the space here? So I made it so that way you can sit here and not have your knees touching. If we take this table, flip it, which is gonna suck, so much junk on it. Please, I'll be trying to clean it. Flip it, turn it. We can put it here up to this edge. We still have room to get to that. My hose setup. I might have to move that, which is okay. I can put it to the side. It's even better because it's not really mounted properly. Doing that, we should be able to get to the hoses on the back without cutting our table up. So let me start with that. I'll get all this cleaned up, flipped around. Got it in place. Got the bench moved over and flipped. Lots of room there. We'll have room for the plug-in as well. For the welder, which is just over here on the back. We'll have to move all that junk. Just slowly cleaning up, but let's get her backed up. We'll get her running, idling outside. It's kind of a crappy day out, but kind of stopped raining, so we'll back it out so the exhaust doesn't kill us. And we'll get this coolant flowing. Hopefully there's no leaks. Cold start. Oh. Being grumpy? So we're at 176 and climbing. Put a little extra in there. We'll let it cool off. We'll see where we're at now. Yeah, it's a little cooler, but I think there's some in there. But just cooling off will suck that stuff in. So got the car pulled in. She's already sucking some back, which is good. It's not fully cooled off, but she's getting there. Then once she's cooled off, I'll pop this off. We'll put some in the fluid. She'll be good for the next for the rip. We'll go for a drive though. So before this video is done. I'm gonna have to wait a week or two, but get the roads to clear up. I've got another about week of this crap, wet, snowy stuff currently. So you can see that there. And then we'll be able to take it for a rip. I just don't want to take the video, finish the video up without, you know, proving that it's all good. Well, a couple days later, it's warmed up to like 9 degrees Celsius. Ooh, so hot. But all that snow we got's already melted. Let's go for a burn. Cold start. Highest we got is what you see now, so the fan's just kicking in. Just fill her up, some fresh stuff. Well, we got a fresh $50 in there, which is like, I don't know, 35 liters, because it's $1.70 a liter for 93, but we're doing 100, 105, and we're doing about 190. It's only 9 degrees though, so we'll see when it's actually peak summer. Still cooling down, we're at 188 now. Highway pole, we'll see what happens. That's half throttle. You know, we'll do a little bit more. Well, let's test her out. We got a buddy that bought a new house just down the street here. Let's leave some black marks. Be the first one. You know, I gotta beat him too with the ZL1. Thanks for watching.